Hello, students. This is 6M6, lessons 13 and 14, quartiles and box plots. This is the last video that's going to comprise our statistics unit for the compact end of this year, and I want to teach you the last piece of information you need before you can do your project. So let's get to it, get to our magic window and start sharing and explaining. So again, what are we doing? We're doing quartiles and box plots. So we're going to talk about how we find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. We've already talked about the median. So you cannot find the quartile, the lower or upper quartile, without first finding the median. And if you recall, we find the median by finding the middle number or the average of the middle numbers. So let's just kind of do that. Let's do the magic countdown method of finding the middle number, eliminating left and right, and we get to 10. 10 is our median. So I'm just going to erase all these numbers. And so this is our median. This is our median. Now, the whole idea of the lower quartile, a quartile is like a quarter. It's like a fourth, right? And the upper quartile is like a fourth. The median is like a half. The median is in the middle. It's a half. So the lower quartile is simply finding the median of the lower half. So let's just circle the lower half of the numbers. We don't include, when we have an odd number, we don't include the middle number. So now we're just going to take our high numbers and low numbers, and now we're going to go again and we're going to find the median of the lower half, and that's going to be called our lower quartile. The lower quartile. So if we eliminate 1 and 8, 7 and 1, 3 and 6, well, we have an even number, so our quartile is going to be the average of the two middle. The two middle numbers are 4 and 6, so the average of those, these are our middle numbers, so the average is 5. The mean of 4 and 6 equals the mean of 4 and 6. The mean equals 5, right? So the median of the lower quartile equals 5. So we have 5, we have our median is 10. So again, another word for lower quartile is Q1. So our Q1 is 5. So let's see if we can find our upper quartile. Well, we have eliminate 11 and 17, 17 and 11, 12 and 15. Well, our 15 and 15, those are our two middle numbers. So the average of 15 and 15 is clearly 15. So that is our upper quartile. Our upper quartile is 15. That's also our Q3, right? So we're just finding the middle of the bottom, the middle of the top, and then we have the middle number, and we have these three magic numbers, 5, 10, and 15. Those are nice even numbers. They rarely work out that they're so perfectly even, but we're going to work with those, and then we're going to do another example where that's not going to probably be so even at the end. So we know now how to find our lower quartile and our upper quartile. And we'll do another example later in case this went too fast, or if this went too fast, just rewind the video. Okay, so let's go back to this same example. So this is the same example. We had our median, and our middle two of the lower two gave us our Q1 of 5, and then the upper two, that was our, right, the middle of our upper two and the middle of our, sorry, the middle two of the upper and the middle two of the lower. This is our Q3 equals 15. And this is our median. So now I'm going to show you how to do this thing called the box plot. This is totally simple once you have the Q1 and the Q3 and the median. We also have to add in the concept of the lowest number and the highest number. So our lowest number is 1. Our highest number is 17. Our Q1 is 5. Our median is 10. And our Q3 is 15. Once you have these numbers, doing what they call a box plot is easy. So let's go ahead and make a line, a number line like we've always done. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call that 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 15. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. And the way you make a box plot is you make a line. To make a box plot, you make a line at Q1. You make a line at Q3. You'll see what kind of line I'm talking about. Then you make a box. Using Q1, comma Q3. Then you make a line at the median. Then you make whiskers. People sometimes call these box and whisker plots. A whisker from the low to Q1, and then you make a whisker from the high, or the Q3 to the high. So let's see how we do this. We make a line at Q1. So Q1 is a 5, so we make a line here. Now we go to step 2, make a line at Q3. Now we make a box using Q1 and Q3. So here's our box. Then we make a line at the median. Well, the median is 10. Almost there. Now we make a whisker from the low to Q1. Well, the low is 1, so we start at 1, not 0. We come over here to 1, and we make a whisker like this. Then to finish it off, we make a whisker from Q3 to the high. Well, the Q3, the high is 17. And we have our box and whisker plot. And we're done. Now notice, each one of these is a quarter, right? This is a half. Well, let me use a different color. Let me switch colors to orange. Okay, so remember, the median is in the middle. So from here to here is a half of our data. All of our data, we have half between here and here. Of all of our elements, half of them are from here to here, and half of them are from the median to the high, right? Well, further, and let's use green for this one, if you go from the bottom whisker to the quartile, which is a quarter, if you'll remember, we get a fourth of the data. A fourth of our elements are in here. We have a fourth of our elements in here. A fourth of our data elements exist in here between 10 and 15. And then a quarter of our data elements live in here from 15 to 17. Right? So we have a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and a fourth. So if I said, where does half of our data elements live? You could say it's, well, half of it lives between 1 and 10, and another half lives between 10 and 17. Well, if I wanted like a middle quarter, I could say, well, I have a quarter of my data between 5 and 10. You could say I have a quarter of my data between 10 and 15. Well, you could say also I have half of my data inside the box, because that's a fourth and a fourth. So half of my data lives between 5 and 15. So a lot of powerful things can be displayed in this box plot, or this box and whisker plot. All of my data is between 1 and 17. I know that's true because that's my high and my low. Let's try one more data set. Let's do this one more time to make sure that we get it. So here we go. We have some data on the time it takes students in Mr. S's class to get to school. So we have to find our median and then our quartile and then our upper quartile, lower quartile, and our high and our low. Let's find our Q1, our low, our median, our Q3, and then our high. And then we can make a box and whisker plot. Down here, let's just go ahead and make this box and whisker plot. We'll call this 30, 20, 10, 0. If you were making this for a test or something, you'd make these a lot more precise, I assume. Let's just go out to 70 for fun. But we can't really make the box and whisker until we calculate our low, our Q1, our median, our Q3, and our high. So, all right, 5 and 6. Let's count 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Count 3 more from each side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's count 3 more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's count 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. And our median is 15. This 15 right here. So our median is 15, and I have it circled in green. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of highlight the low numbers. And then we'll do our high numbers. And then we'll find the median there. Well, we know our low is 5, and we know our high is 60. So now we just got to find our Q1, our Q3, and we'll be able to draw our box plot, be done. All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's count 2 more. 1, 2. 1, 2. Count 1 more. Oh, this one worked out nicely. There was nothing even, so we have an 8. That 8 is our Q1. That's our Q1. And we know over here we must have an odd number too, because they're the same number on each side. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So 25. So our Q1 and there's our Q3. So we have 8 and we have 25. So now we can draw our box and whisker. So let's draw our box here at our Q1. Remember, we draw our Q1 line, and now we're going to draw our Q3 line. Right, so this is, we can even write it in here just to make it really clear. So there's our box. Our median is 15. Now notice our median isn't in the middle necessarily of 8 and 25. It's our median. It doesn't go in the middle. It goes where the median is. And the median sometimes is a little bit to the left, and it's sometimes a little bit to the right of the middle of the box. It's just indicating that half of the numbers are to the left and half of the numbers are to the right. Now let's find our low. So our whisker. Our whisker goes from 5 to 8. So it's pretty short whisker here. And that's a quarter of our numbers, remember, live between 5 and 8, which makes sense. There's a quarter of our numbers are between 5 and 8. Now, our right whisker is huge. It goes from 25 all the way to 60. So look at that. This is a super long right whisker and a super short left whisker, but still, this is a quarter of our data points are between 25 and 60, right? There's a fourth of our data points are between 25 and 60, just like a fourth of them are in a really tight range down here at the bottom. Very interesting. But bottom line, we have our box and whisker plot. We can write in our key numbers if we want, just to make really clear on the box and whisker plots where our key points are, but we're done. And that's the essence of of a box plot or a box and whisker plot. You will see these on standardized tests from time to time, which is why one reason we're teaching them to you, but also because they're really good visual representations of data. All right, well, we're going to end this podcast here. That was 6 and 6, lessons 13 and 14. And we'll probably do some examples of data sets and building all of these data sets, all of these types of graphs and charts and medians and data numerical analysis, so that you can set up your project and complete your project with confidence.